And I welcome you once again to our daily devotion with William J. Today we are looking at the book of Mark, chapter 1, verse 35. Speaking of Jesus, the Bible says, "And rising very early in the morning, while it was still dark, he departed and went out to a desolate place, and there he prayed." He had been greatly occupied the whole day preceding this. We think little of time, but he never passed an idle hour. The whole of his life, he said, "I must work the works of him that sent me while it is still day. The night comes where no man can work." And he was really a man. He took our infirmities, and his wearied nature required sleep. But he distinguished between the necessary and the needless, and even between refreshment and indulgence. And while he instructed self-denial upon his disciples as the very first lesson in his school, he pleased not himself. Regarding the amount of sleep, no one rule can be applied to everyone. Some require more than others, but it is questionable whether they require much more. Yes, it may be questioned whether they require any more as to the length. What they want more is better sleep, and the quality would likely be improved by lessening the quantity. Let those who are now so wakeful and restless and can only sleep soundly when they should be getting out of bed, let them try this experiment and see whether a few hours of sweet and solid sleep is not preferable to the protraction of being bedridden. We should also ask, too, whether we have not produced the habit itself that now demands so much to satisfy it. If so, we are accountable for the cause as well as the effect. We should always be fearful and suspicious when our reasonings and pleadings are on the side of gratification and ease. It is in those things where nothing sinful is thought of and no danger appears. It is in these things that we especially need the admonition, "Watch and pray, lest you enter into temptation." The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak. Some live only to do evil. We do not wish them to rise early because they are only harmless while they are asleep. Some live a life of mere inactivity and ease. They are indeed from vice, but they have no useful employment. It is of little importance at what time they rise. There is very little difference between their sleeping and wakeful hours. The one is as barren as the other of any activity that endeavors to glorify God or serve their generation or work out their own salvation. But certainly there are some who feel that life is infinitely important. They know that they are placed here to do gain and to do good. They remember that only the opportunities they have for both are short and uncertain. And surely these will say, "Let us not sleep as others do." Surely these will feel the excitement and the reproach, "It is high time to awake out of sleep. They that sleep, sleep in the night." In a word, is it not true that rising early is always a benefit? Is it not physically advantageous? Is it not better for our health? Consult your strength, your appetite, your nerves, your spirits, and your complexion, and ask your physician. Is there a medical man upon earth that would risk his reputation by telling you something else? Sinclair, in his volumes on health and longevity, remarks that though those who lived to a very great age differed in many things, they all resembled each other in this one thing: every one of them rose early. Is it not also helpful for our civil concerns? What an advantage has the tradesman by rising early in planning and arranging his concerns for the day, in forwarding his work and placing it under his command, and in having leisure time for any incidental engagement without stopping or deranging the usual course of his calling. While another who has said, "A little more sleep, a little more slumber," and who begins at 10, which he should have commenced at 6, is thrown into haste and confusion, hurries on to overtake himself, and finds throughout the day that his duty is in turmoil, and he feels himself a drudge. If we turn from the shop and look to the family, what a difference between the early and late mistress and the early and late servant. Even those who do not practice early rising themselves plead for the importance of it in their servants, and would never hire them without it. Indeed, the reputation of every individual, whatever his station in life is concerned in it, and his character in the judgment of others is unavoidably lowered by late rising, unless there is known a justifiable cause. Above all, is it not morally important? The heathens said that the morning was the friend to the muses. It is surely a friend to the graces. If it is the best time for study, it is also the best time for devotion. It is better to go from prayer to business than from business to prayer. Conversation with God prepares us for our conversation with our fellow men, and for every occurrence, whether pleasing or painful. Who would go out in the morning not knowing what a day may bring forth, and feeling his ignorance, weakness, depravity, and danger, without first committing himself to God? There are many examples of great men who rose early in the morning throughout their life and took an hour for private prayer and meditation. But see the Lord of all. What did he do? And rising very early in the morning, while it was still dark, he departed and went out to a desolate place. And there he prayed. Priorities. Sensible priorities, godly priorities, same thing. Thanks so much for listening in, and I hope to see you tomorrow.